Listen Up Your Morning sets the tone for your entire day, and your day shapes your future. The most successful people on the planet don't leave their mornings to chance. They follow powerful, consistent rituals that prime their mindset, boost productivity, and keep them focused on their purpose. In this speech, we'll uncover the 5 morning habits that high achievers practice daily to stay ahead, stay balanced, and stay unstoppable. If you're ready to break through distractions, elevate your energy, and build a life of clarity and discipline, these habits will give you the exact foundation you need to rise and lead. Before the noise of the world takes over, before the demands begin pouring in, there is a window of time, small, quiet, powerful. Successful people protect that window. They don't begin their day by reaching for their phones, scrolling through endless feeds, or diving into tasks. Instead, they start with stillness. It's not laziness. It's not avoidance. It's an intentional act of control. Because the moment you open your eyes, your mind is fresh, unshaped, and open. What you feed it first matters more than you think. Stillness isn't about doing nothing. It's about creating space. It's about pausing before the pull of the external world hijacks your attention. This stillness can take many forms: meditation, prayer, deep breathing, or simply sitting in silence with a cup of water or tea. What matters is the act of presence. It's choosing to listen inward before reacting outward. It's choosing to connect with your center before you connect with the chaos. This habit is a psychological anchor. In the early moments of the day, your subconscious is active. Your brain is shifting from theta to alpha waves, meaning it's highly impressionable. If you rush into stimulation, emails, news, social media, you're wiring your brain to begin each day in reaction. That's how anxiety begins. That's how burnout builds. You're letting the world shape you before you shape yourself. But successful people do the opposite. They use that early window to ground themselves. In stillness, they return to their values. They reconnect with their why. They breathe, not just to relax, but to center. And in that centering, they create a mental edge, because when your thoughts are calm, your actions become deliberate. When your inner world is in order, your outer world follows. This habit doesn't require hours. Even 5 minutes of intentional stillness can shift everything. It's not about time, it's about presence. Most people lose their mornings to distraction. But those who choose stillness before stimulus gain a priceless advantage: clarity. While others are overwhelmed, they're composed. While others are frantic, they're focused. This one choice ripples into every decision. You listen more deeply, you speak more intentionally, you handle stress more skillfully. Stillness becomes the root of resilience. It allows you to respond instead of react. And over time, it becomes the foundation of consistent leadership. Not because you're faster or louder, but because you're clearer. In a world that rewards urgency, stillness may feel unnatural. But it is in that pause where wisdom lives. It's the quiet beginning that creates powerful outcomes. Movement is more than just physical activity. It's a message you send to your brain first thing in the morning. A message that says, I'm awake, I'm here, and I'm ready. Highly successful people understand this principle deeply. They know that how you move your body determines how you move through your day. When you start your morning with motion, you don't just awaken your muscles, you awaken your mindset. You generate energy, sharpen focus, and build emotional resilience before the day even starts to test you. There's a unique power in choosing to move before anything else. Whether it's stretching, walking, running, yoga, or a full workout, movement shifts you from a passive state to a proactive one. Now, it turns inertia into energy. It doesn't just prepare your body, it aligns your intentions. You're telling yourself that your health, discipline, and mental clarity are not afterthoughts, they're priorities. That mindset carries into every decision you make afterward. You start with control, so you operate with control. Movement in the morning improves your mood, boosts cognitive performance, and increases your ability to focus under pressure. It's biological and psychological. Your brain releases endorphins and dopamine, natural chemicals that elevate your mood and reduce stress. You don't need motivation to move. You move to create motivation. That's what momentum is. The chain reaction of one intentional act leading to another. One push-up can turn into one bold decision. One stretch can open the mind. One walk can clear the fog that would have clouded your entire day. Most people wait for the right feeling to act. Successful people act to generate the right feeling. They don't see movement as optional. They see it as their first victory. When you do something hard first thing in the morning, something that demands effort, you prove to yourself that you're capable of doing more than comfort allows. That self-trust builds confidence. It sharpens discipline. It rewires your brain to embrace challenge instead of avoiding it. You don't have to be an athlete to move in the morning. This isn't about intensity, it's about intention. 10 minutes of movement can be enough to shift your state. The key is consistency. It's the repetition of action day after day that conditions your mind and body to wake up on purpose. You become someone who leads your life, not someone who reacts to it. Movement builds momentum because it teaches you to push before the world pushes you. It activates your body, wakes up your brain, and ignites your willpower. It's not about burning calories. It's about generating strength, physically, mentally, and emotionally. The way you move in the morning becomes the way you move through life, with energy, with focus, and with intention. Learning with intention is one of the most powerful habits that highly successful people build into their mornings. They don't just consume information, they seek wisdom. In a world drowning in content, they don't scroll aimlessly or fill their minds with noise. Instead, they choose what to read, watch, or listen to with a clear purpose. Every minute of learning in the morning is an investment in their future self. It's not about quantity, it's about direction. What they feed their minds first thing in the day shapes how they think, how they decide, and how they lead. The early morning is a sacred window. The mind is fresh, alert, and unburdened by the distractions of the day. This is when your brain is most ready to absorb new ideas and perspectives. Successful people use this time to feed their minds with intentional material, whether it's a few pages of a book, a short podcast, a reflection on a meaningful quote, or even journaling thoughts sparked by what they've learned. They don't wait for life to teach them. They pursue the knowledge that helps them grow before the world even wakes up. Intentional learning isn't random, it's focused. It's guided by a bigger why. A leader trying to build a stronger team may study communication. An entrepreneur aiming to grow may read about strategy or psychology. A person striving for peace might dive into philosophy or mindfulness. The key is that they choose learning that aligns with who they want to become, not just what entertains them. Every morning becomes an act of alignment between their current self and their future vision. SINEK. This habit compounds over time. 5 or 10 minutes of daily learning may not seem like much, but it adds up. One insight today could lead to one breakthrough tomorrow. One concept applied repeatedly can elevate an entire career. Successful people understand that growth is not an event, it's a habit. And that habit is built by showing up daily, even for a few moments, with curiosity and intention. It's easy to let the day decide what you learn, social media posts, breaking news, random opinions. But intentional learners take control. They set the tone. They feed their minds before the world feeds them distractions. That's how they stay ahead. Not because they're smarter, but because they're more focused on feeding the right ideas. Learning becomes a form of self-leadership. You choose the input, and that input shapes your output. Intentional learning in the morning reminds you that your mind is your most valuable asset. It prepares you to think clearly, speak confidently, and act decisively. It's not just about gaining knowledge. It's about sharpening your perspective and reinforcing the identity of a person who grows on purpose. When you learn with intention, you don't just gather information, you create transformation. Owning the agenda means taking full responsibility for how your day unfolds before anyone else gets a say. Highly successful people don't start their mornings by checking emails, reacting to messages, or letting others set the tone. Instead, they begin with clarity. They ask themselves, what truly matters today? What actions align with my priorities, not someone else's urgency? This shift from reaction to intention is what separates those who feel overwhelmed from those who lead their lives with purpose and direction. Most people lose their day in the first hour. They wake up, check their phone, and are instantly pulled into other people's priorities. Their energy is scattered before it's focused. They're responding before they've even thought about what matters to them. But the people who get results, the ones who consistently move forward, don't surrender the steering wheel that easily. They pause, they reflect, and they decide what deserves their energy before anything else steals it. Owning the agenda is about making space every morning to plan the day with intention. This doesn't require a long or complex process. It could be as simple as reviewing your top 3 tasks, writing down what success looks like by the end of the day, or identifying one thing that, if completed, would make everything else easier. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. And that requires discipline, not just motivation. This habit creates a powerful psychological effect. When you start your day with direction, you experience less decision fatigue later. You're not constantly asking, "Oh, what should I be doing?" because you've already answered that question. You're not reacting to distractions as they come because you've already committed to what deserves your attention. It's a form of mental armor. It helps you stay on track even when the day throws curveballs. Owning the agenda also builds trust in yourself. When you plan your day and follow through, even partially, you reinforce the belief that your goals matter. You're not just living on autopilot, you're taking control. This sense of control leads to better choices, stronger focus, and higher performance. People around you notice it too. They respect someone who respects their own time. What's often misunderstood is that this habit isn't rigid. It doesn't mean scheduling every second or being inflexible. It means leading your time instead of following it. It means waking up and deciding, "This is where I'm going today," instead of being pulled in a dozen directions without intention. It means prioritizing impact over activity, depth over speed. In a world where everyone is busy, owning the agenda is what makes you effective. It reminds you that success isn't found in how much you do, but in how aligned your actions are with your values and goals. It's not about being in control of everything. It's about being in control of yourself. That's the real edge. Gratitude is often mistaken for a soft emotion, a feel-good moment tucked away for quiet times. But for highly successful people, gratitude is not a luxury. It's a strategy. It is the grounding force that brings clarity, focus, and strength to everything they do. While the world races toward more goals, more achievements, more validation, successful individuals begin their day by pausing to acknowledge what already is. That pause doesn't slow them down, it centers them. It shifts their mindset from scarcity to abundance, from pressure to presence. When gratitude becomes a morning habit, it transforms the way you perceive challenges. Instead of waking up burdened by what's missing or undone, you begin with recognition of what's already working, what you've already overcome, and what you already have. That recognition rewires your brain. Neuroscience shows that gratitude reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, and increases dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals linked to well-being and motivation. In other words, the simple act of giving thanks shifts your entire internal chemistry toward resilience and readiness. Successful people know that ambition without gratitude leads to burnout. Gratitude provides balance. It reminds them that progress is not only measured by what's ahead, but also by how far they've come. This perspective creates emotional stability, which is essential in high-pressure environments. When everything feels urgent, gratitude brings patience. When failure shows up, gratitude brings wisdom. It doesn't erase the problem, but it reframes it. And that reframing often makes all the difference. Practicing gratitude doesn't take hours. It could be writing down 3 things you're thankful for, reflecting on a lesson learned, or simply sitting in silence and feeling appreciation for life itself. The habit is simple, but its impact is deep. It creates a mental habit of looking for the good, which leads to seeing opportunities others miss. It softens the ego, reduces comparison, and strengthens relationships, because people are naturally drawn to those who radiate appreciation rather than entitlement. When you start the day with gratitude, you're not just being kind, you're being strategic. You're choosing to begin from a place of strength and peace. That choice impacts how you speak, how you lead, and how you handle uncertainty. It grounds you when the world tries to shake you. It reminds you of your values when success tries to distract you. It creates an inner stillness that can't be shaken by external chaos. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about anchoring yourself in what's real, what's meaningful, and what's already enough. It's already enough. That sense of enough doesn't make you complacent. It makes you powerful. Because when you're grounded in appreciation, you're not chasing success out of fear or lack. You're building it from a place of purpose, clarity, and inner confidence. Gratitude becomes your foundation. Not because everything is easy, but because everything is seen through the lens of growth, value, and grace. Consistency is the quiet force behind all meaningful transformation. While intensity is loud, exciting, and often celebrated, it's consistency that creates real lasting change. Successful people understand this difference deeply. They don't rely on sudden bursts of motivation or grand one-time efforts to move forward. Instead, they build systems, habits, and routines that allow them to show up every single day, especially when they don't feel like it. They know that doing a little repeatedly beats doing a lot occasionally. Intensity is tempting because it delivers instant gratification. You push hard for one day and you feel accomplished. But the truth is, transformation doesn't come from what you do once in a while. It comes from what you do repeatedly, even when it's boring, even when no one is watching, and especially when it doesn't feel exciting. Consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. When you keep your promises to yourself day after day, even in small ways, you build identity. You start to believe, I am the kind of person who follows through. That belief is more powerful than any motivational speech. Highly successful people structure their lives around non-negotiables. It could be writing 1 page a day, exercising for 20 minutes, waking up at the same time, or reading 5 pages. These small habits, repeated with discipline, stack up over time. That's how mastery is formed, not in sprints, but in the patience of daily practice. The compound effect of small, consistent action leads to results that intensity alone can never reach. Consistency also builds resilience. Life doesn't always cooperate. Some days are chaotic, heavy, or uncertain. Intensity breaks under that pressure. But consistency bends and adapts. When you're consistent, you build routines that carry you through the hard days. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep showing up. That persistence creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence. The people who rise to the top aren't always the most talented, but they are often the most consistent. They understand that showing up matters more than showing off. They're not chasing dramatic transformation. They're building a foundation brick by brick. And because of that, they outlast others who burn out chasing fast results. Consistency doesn't mean doing the same thing forever. Without change, it means staying committed to your process while growing and adjusting along the way. It means being faithful to your values, your vision, and your habits, even when progress is invisible. It means choosing discipline over drama. In a world that glorifies extremes, consistency feels quiet. It doesn't demand attention, but over time it earns respect. It builds strength. It builds strength. And it delivers results. Successful people don't wait to feel ready. They create readiness through routine. They don't depend on hype. They depend on habits because they know. Consistency beats intensity every time. So when the sun rises tomorrow, remember, you have a choice. You can let the day lead you, or you can lead the day. These 5 habits aren't just tasks. They are commitments to your future self. Begin with stillness. Move with purpose. Learn with intention. Own your time. And ground yourself in gratitude. You don't need perfection. You need presence. You need presence. And you don't need to do everything at once. Just start with one habit consistently. Because success doesn't happen in the rush of the world. It's shaped in the quiet moments you choose to own your morning. And when you own your morning, you transform your life.